Hello everybody, this is a 10-minute format, which is a beauty, and today's guest is an interesting one. He's a biohacker, I think. You will find out. And I'm not going to say his name, of course, because he's going to answer that in the first question. So let's start then. First question, right? So who are you? Where do you live? And what do you do? You have 1 minute to answer, and that starts right now.
Hi everyone, my name is Bob Troia and I live in New York City. What do I do? I am a technology entrepreneur. I am passionate about using data and self-experimentation and technology to learn more about myself and how to optimize all aspects of my life. I've been working in technology since the early days of the web, and I've always had a passion just about understanding myself better. And it's just been over the last, let's say, 10 years where we've seen improvements in technology, access to data, and just these communities arising in the quantified self and biohacking movement. So it's been amazing to see how people are empowering themselves to learn more about themselves. And I imagine we have a few seconds left. I don't know. I don't see the timer.
10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds.
And I also run a blog called quantifiedbob.com.
All right, so let's go to the second question then. Why tracking data is so important to you? So we have 1 minute left.
So given my background in business and technology, there's this saying that goes, you can't manage what you can't measure. And I've always been passionate about looking at ways to find correlations in this information. And the fact that we can get access to this data now allows us to find these trends and correlations. Even if you're collecting data today that you won't look into, maybe a year or 5 years from now, there's new information we have that it would be great to have those data points that we can then look at in the context of other data points. And so whether it's lab testing or wearables or things like sleep, supplementation, diet, those are all important variables, and we can use that data and information to allow ourselves to just focus on areas that we think are I guess we'll call it the low-hanging fruit of improving our personal optimization. And so that's how I look at data.
All right, that was a satisfying answer for me at least. So let's go to the third question. I know that you live in New York, is that right?
Correct.
All right. Is it New York City?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn, New York, which is part of New York City, but it's across a little river. I can walk over a bridge and be in Manhattan.
All right. So my question to you is, my third question, isn't New York City a shitty place to live if you want to be super healthy? And you have 1 minute to answer this question.
Absolutely. So, given the volume of people in a concentrated area, you have to look at things like the environment, air quality. Water quality here is actually not bad. We deal with things like, there's EMFs, and there's so many Wi-Fi spots and cell phone towers and all of that. So we're basically just being bombarded with stressors. So from a biohacking perspective, a lot of biohacking for people in my situation, New York City, is about making sure that you stay above, you're dealing with these stressors all the time. And so, look, if you have the ability to move or go somewhere else, that's great, but some people don't have the luxury of being able to do that. So you have to figure out ways to optimize the environment around you. And usually I focus mostly on my home because that is something I can largely control. And so I would say for most people, just focus on things like your bedroom, your home, your living room, where you spend, say, a third of your life.
All right, I agree. Even I've never been to New York, so all right. So
not that bad.
Yeah. So fourth question to you, Bob. If there was a habit that anybody could change to improve his health drastically, what would be that? So you have 1 minute to answer the question.
I would say the simplest thing would be to move, like move around, like just, regardless of whatever your condition is or state, try, incorporating movement and even any kind of exercise into your day will have that sort of cascading effect and start affecting other areas, whether it's the general wellness, sleep, mental health, etc. So I feel like, especially a lot of us have been around the world have been kind of stuck at home for the last year and a half, and people, instead of going outside and trying to be active and all that, they're staying inside. And I've actually seen a lot of people's health go worse, not from any kind of illness other than just being inactive. And I feel, that if you're going to move, I mean, that is like a simple activity. And I would say, like, just exercise. I mean, no matter how old you are, I tell people of all ages, that's just the basic thing.
All right, great answer. I didn't expect that, by the way. But yeah, I find that's to be true for me too.
And it's free. It's a free solution.
Yes, exactly. So, all right, Bob. So fifth question for you. Do you think that biohacking is an extension of natural health habits? So let's say, you do sleep, you do move, you do blah, 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 blah. Do you think that biohacking is an extension, an addition to that? Or do you think that we should neglect all the natural forms of health habits, like simple walking, simple stuff, and blah, 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 and sleeping and eating, and basically not supplement it, but replace these simple habits with biohacking tools, biohacking technology, and focus on the technology? So what do you think the relationship between health habits, simple ones, and biohacking technology, what is the relationship there? So you have 1 minute to answer.
I think they're related and not exclusive of each other. A lot of people define biohacking as using all these tools and technologies and techniques to replace what we're not getting from nature. So because we live in a modern society, and so you'll hear about people talking about things like grounding or cold exposure and doing these other techniques. But for the large part of people, like, they're using biohacking to try to find shortcuts to find optimization. So you can, a lot of people have been going around just being healthy and living healthy lifestyles. Biohacking, though, can be everything from certain actions you're doing, like we're talking some free things, right? Versus using certain technologies or taking a pill, or more extreme things where you get into longevity areas and stem cells or peptides and all that. So I think they work together, but it's an extension. But I think people biohacking don't have to be necessarily the extreme.
All right, I believe you. So Bob, 6th question to you, and that's probably related to your memories. So why exactly did you start biohacking? Why did you undertake that journey? Or why did you start? Why is that so interesting to you? You have 1 minute, my friend.
So I started as a teenager, largely through athletics. Back then, we didn't have the tools and the data and all the cool stuff we have now. I was looking for ways to look at how to get stronger, become faster from an athletic perspective. It was really only in the past, let's say, decade or 12 years where I think, tracking things in notebooks and using other tools, but we've seen this advance in technology and access to information about ourselves, where now you can really dial in and understand what's happening on the inside. And so performance kind of shifted towards general wellness, trying to deal with things like fatigue and optimizing sleep and all of that. And as you get older, now we're looking at things like longevity, and not about living to be 1,000 years old, but staying active and being healthy as long as possible. So I don't want to, there's no point in living a very long time if you're just, not able to move around and enjoy life. So for me, it's just been the marriage of technology, health, and wellness, and self.
All right.
All right, let's go to the 7th question, Bob. What's your opinion on sleep quality and productivity? You have 1 minute.
So, I mean, sleep quality, I look at sleep quality from the standpoint of maintaining consistent times you go to bed, you wake up, minimizing distractions overnight. We can sleep. A lot of people get into sleep stages, looking at the difference between REM sleep and deep sleep. But I do think if people that are chronically sleep deprived, it's clear that from a productivity standpoint, you're cognitively and for things like focus and being able to get to like these flow states is going to be hindered. So I do think, fortunately, I do get adequate sleep every night. I mean, I make a priority of that. But there are times where, like, often with travel and you're switching time zones, and maybe then your sleep can get thrown off a little bit. You'll realize that it may take a day or two to get back into the swing of things. So I mean, everyone wants to improve their sleep. That's really what I've seen as a.
Yeah, sleep is important. All right, two questions to go. Let's go to the 8th question. So Bob, what are now currently your testosterone levels, if you have measured them, and what do you think about TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, in case you don't know? So you have 1 minute to answer this.
So my testosterone levels can bounce around. I think the last lab test I did, I was probably around 700 to 800 was my measurement, which is pretty okay. But it's been as low. I mean, there's been times where it's gone down, like in the 400s. What I found as a really cool hack to increase testosterone is fasting. It's actually the idea of fasting and then the refeed after fasting, when your body goes, hey, I'm not going to starve to death. I can release all these growth factors. And I've done lab testing pre and post fast and just see this like spike in growth factors. So I do think that was a cool technique. I mean, now the TRT, I think it's an area where I think someone's older and there's definitely their body just can't produce it in any way. But I see younger people just getting into it. I think if you're younger, you really shouldn't be looking at that.
All right, yeah, 800 is a great level, by the way, in my opinion. So, all right, so we are almost there. The 9th question is a little bit emotional, can be. Let's say that tomorrow an asteroid will crash on the Earth and everybody from the human race will die, and you along with them, and me, of course. Was your life worth it? Do you have any regrets? Would you do anything different? So you have 1 minute.
Regrets? No. I mean, there's a lot I'm hoping to accomplish in my life. So I would say, did I complete everything I wanted to complete? No. Have I made an impact on society? I mean, I think a lot of people, they pass away, they have a will, and then they leave money or things to. I think it's more important for people to leave. Why don't you do that while you're alive? Make an impact in the world while you're alive. So I would say for me, it's been pretty fulfilling thus far. I'm not going to say I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish. So there would be a bit of a, if you say get emotional, I'd be like, yeah, there's definitely things that, we never got to see, or things that we started looking towards the future and things that really get me optimistic and excited, So, I would say, it's a balance, right? Of the two, of being fulfilled and things that you wish you could see.
All right. So that was it, basically. 9 questions. You answered them all. All right, Bob, where can people find you? What are you working now these days? Where are your services, your products, anything?
Sure. So if you want to follow along my adventures, I write up a lot of my longer form experiments at quantifiedbob.com, but you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all social media at quantifiedbob. And that's where I'll share more of my day-to-day things I'm testing out or things I'm trying that maybe haven't made themselves work their way into a full experiment. I'm also the co-founder of a emerging technology studio called Awesome Labs. So if you go to isjustawesome.com, we built some pretty cool tools around health and wellness. Still working on some other cool initiatives. A lot of people probably the most popular app is a free app we released for guided breath work. That's just like a no frills, like you can just punch in all the different settings and it's totally free, 100% free, called Awesome Breathing. We've built other tools around meal tracking and we even built a little app for doing peptide calculations and stuff like that. So we're building all these little tools, things that suit our needs, basically things that I wanted for myself, and then we just release them to the world to use. And those are probably the main places to find out about what I'm doing.
All right. So people, go and subscribe and go and basically find Bob's blog, like and subscribe, of course, and comment your agreements or your disagreements with Bob and me. And see you on the next episode of the 10-Minute Podcast. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, Bob.